Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another meal prep video. This week I am going to prep a couple of lunches slash dinner. Also going to do something that could be good for a breakfast or for a snack. So I'm going to be trying out a brand new protein powder, making a protein loaf. So stay tuned next week for my what I eat in a day videos that I will post on Thursday, and I'll tell you all about it. First up, let's go ahead and get started on one of my first meal preps, which this will probably be for my lunch, and it's going to be some taco potatoes. So we need some mini potatoes, some taco seasoning, cornstarch, some sort of seasoning. I'm just going to use Kinder's The Blend. You'll need some cooking spray. I'm going to use the 99% lean ground turkey, but use whatever kind of meat you want. For toppings, I'm going to do some cilantro, some cheese, some green onions, and then I like to use plain non-fat Greek yogurt in place of sour cream. And I also do have some guacamole and some avocados in my refrigerator that I can top on top of this as well. So the first thing we're gonna do is prep the potatoes. So I'm kind of winging this. I don't have a recipe or anything, just kind of winging it, but I am gonna go ahead and weigh out 8 ounces of these potatoes. That way I am being, tracking the best that I can. And with potatoes, I do like to track just a little bit more, and this will be 2 points for this, but I'm going to do 8 ounces of potatoes. So I'm just dicing them up kind of as evenly as I can. I'm going to put these in the air fryer. That's my favorite way to cook these type of potatoes. So I'm just going to continue cutting these up, dicing these up, and then I'll show you the seasoning we're going to put on these. Now I'm going to spray these with some cooking spray. You can also use oil, whatever you'd like to use. Now I had this idea, I thought if I put some cornstarch on these, that maybe it'll make it seem like they have a coating. I don't think you need that. Afterwards I thought about it and I thought, you know what, I don't really think I need the coating on here. I don't really think it added to it like I thought it was going to, but I did put on a half a tablespoon of cornstarch just to see what would happen. And I'm also going to add in some taco seasoning. Again, you can use your own taco seasoning, whatever you want to use. And then I'm going to use some of the Kinder's The Blend, which is just salt, pepper, garlic. I'm going to add that in there. So we have the cornstarch, the taco seasoning, the cooking spray, and then the salt and pepper, which you may not need with the taco seasoning as well. They did come out very seasoned. Like I said, I didn't have a recipe. I wasn't really thinking. So I think if I were to do this again, I would have sprayed cooking spray and just added in the taco seasoning. I think that would have been plenty. So I'm just going to mix these really well. I'm going to put these in my air fryer at 400 for about 10 minutes, and then I'll kind of shake them a little bit and just put them in for another 5. I make these all the time without these type of seasonings. I just make plain ones and they come out perfect every single time. So I'm just going to weigh these out just to make sure that I have my serving of 4 ounces in each of my containers. And actually that came out a little bit less when I tried to do half. So it's actually like 3.5 ounces because I didn't realize when you cook them, they must shrink a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I'm supposed to know that. I don't know. I had no idea. So I just wanted to make sure I'm weighing them out so I can actually track them correctly. And then we have our taco meat, which I didn't show you that I made, but I did just cook up the ground turkey, added in the taco seasoning, added a little bit of water since the 99% fat-free turkey is so lean. And then I am going to weigh out 5 ounces of the turkey meat because I like to get that extra protein in there. So like I said, we're going to weigh out 5 ounces of that in our bowl here, and then we'll just add on the rest of the toppings. Now I did make extra taco meat because I like to have that for just last minute dinners and whatnot. Taco meat is like something I like to have in my refrigerator all the time. Then we're gonna go ahead and add on some cheese, and I weighed out a serving of cheese, and it actually, when I was trying to, a serving of it is 28 grams, and that just seemed like a whole lot. So I did just stop at 20 grams for the cheese, which is actually only 2 points for that. So it's 2 points for the potatoes, 2 points for the cheese. And then we're adding on some cilantro, some green onions, some tomatoes, and then I'm going to add on some plain non-fat Greek yogurt. Like I said, I do have some avocado, but I didn't want them to turn brown or anything while they were in the refrigerator. And I do actually have some made up guacamole as well. So both of those can be added to this, but I think I'm just going to do plain non-fat Greek yogurt, and what I'll probably end up adding on there is a little bit of mild Taco Bell sauce. I actually meant to add that on there, And I just now remembered that that's what I was going to add on there. So I'll probably just add that on there on the day I have it to eat. But here are my 2 taco potato bowls. And you guys, these are just so good. And I do like that I added the seasoning on the potatoes. When I've made these before, I haven't seasoned the potatoes at all besides just like salt and pepper. But this, having the taco seasoning on there, they just added so much more flavor. And you'll see here it's only 320 points for this whole thing. 4 Weight Watcher points, or I'm sorry, 320 calories, 4 points, and tons of protein. Definitely going to keep me full for my lunch. And here's the extra taco meat that I had left over. Again, like I said, I just like to have this in my refrigerator to just kind of grab and go, make a quick burrito, or I could just use some of my protein chips to eat them. Next up, we're going to do a protein loaf. So I'm going to use this new protein powder that I picked up just to try for baking because I've heard that it bakes up so well. But you can use any kind of protein powder that you want because most protein powder does bake up really well. Then you'll need some egg whites, some old-fashioned rolled oats, some baking powder, and then you will need either pumpkin or applesauce. Not both, but one or the other. Whatever one you want to do, and I'm going to try both of them in these recipes, and then just some cinnamon, and then you'll need a little mini loaf pan, and this is the size that I got. And like I said, use whatever kind of protein powder that you want to use. I'm going to try the same thing with some of the protein powders that I have in my cupboard. Now for the sinful cinnamon, I'm going to try the pumpkin, and then with the angel food cake, I'm going to use the applesauce. That way I can really get that flavor of the angel food cake and see how it is. So we're going to do the angel food cake first. We're just going to put that whole packet in there, which is equal to 1 scoop of protein powder. So again, if you're using a different kind of protein powder, just use 1 scoop of protein powder. And then we're going to do a 1/4 cup of the applesauce. And you can use whatever kind of applesauce you want. This is just unsweetened applesauce, but they do have the flavored applesauces. Oh, and also, sorry, nope. First, we're doing 1/4 cup of oats. I'm just using the old-fashioned rolled oats. I don't know, it didn't specify in the video that I saw if you should use quick oats or anything, so I just used rolled oats, and then I'm going to do a teaspoon of baking powder. And I'm just going to give that a good stir. So I want to do my dry ingredients first in here, and then we're going to add I'm going to do about a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. I don't want to do too much. This is a half teaspoon I'm using, so I'm just going to do about a half of that half teaspoon and do a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. And I just love adding cinnamon in any baked goods. And then now we're going to add in the 1/4 cup of applesauce in there. Now I was going to say is there's flavored applesauces that are unsweetened that actually may be really good in some of these loaves as well. Like if you did like a blueberry loaf, you could use the blueberry unsweetened applesauce, which I've got that before, and it is really good. And then we're going to do a 1/4 cup of egg whites. And I imagine you could just do 1 egg in here. I don't know. All the recipes I've ever seen for protein loaves usually use egg whites. So that's what I'm using in here. We're just going to give that a good stir. And then we're going to put this into our little mini loaf pan, which I'm going to spray really well with some cooking spray because I don't want it to stick. I love these pans because these are the heavy duty ones, and you can reuse those ones. You can just wash them and reuse them. I have done that before just until you can't use them anymore. And they work really well. And then we're going to do the next one is going to be the sinful cinnamon, which I've heard great things about with the Devotion protein powder. But again, you can use whatever kind you want. So we're just going to do 1 scoop of protein powder, and we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to do a 1/4 cup of rolled oats. And I don't know what the purpose of the oats, maybe just to add a little bit more fiber. Maybe it helps, makes it stay in the loaf a lot better than if you didn't put there, because I'd actually looked up some other protein loaves on Pinterest, and they all have oatmeal. So I was really interested in that because I don't think I've ever made one before. You know, I've made those protein muffins over and over again using protein powder and using like Kodiak protein, the pancakes. And oatmeal is never a ingredient in it, but in these protein loaves, it seems to be pretty consistent in all the recipes that I see. So yeah, we'll just have to go with it and hope it turns out okay. So now I'm going to use a 1/4 cup of pumpkin. So like I said, it just seems to be interchangeable if you want to use pumpkin or applesauce. Of course, pumpkin may add just a little bit more flavor. That's why I wanted to do it with the cinnamon, because I thought that goes really well together, cinnamon and pumpkin. So that's why I did that. And then again, we're just going to do another 1/4 cup of egg whites. And I know I'm using a dry measuring cup for the liquid, but I'm not too worried about it in this recipe because it's just so simple. And then we're going to mix this up. Now, when I saw these on the videos that I saw on Instagram and on TikTok, they had talked about after you bake these up that you can toast them up and you can or like heat them up, or you can cut them in half and toast them up, add some butter. So I kind of thought that I may try that one of the days next week. I may just cut them in half, like after I cook them, cut them in half and put them in my air fryer and just kind of toast them up that way because I don't have like a toaster oven or anything. So we'll definitely let you know what I think about these. So now these are going to go into a 350-degree oven, and I set my oven at 20 minutes and they weren't quite done, so mine took 25, but definitely I would start at 20 minutes and just go from there because it's really going to depend on your oven how they cook up. But mine turned out really good. Like I said, after 25 minutes they were perfect. I just stuck a toothpick in there, and when it came out clean, then they were done. And you'll see here they're really springy, they're really soft, and they are really, I mean, this whole thing, so the calories and the points I'm going to have here on the screen, that's for one whole loaf. So it's 198 calories for the angel food, 4 points for either one, and then for the sinful cinnamon, because he's using the pumpkin, it's 207 calories, and you'll see it's like almost 28 grams of protein for both of them. So I'm just going to wrap them in some parchment paper and then in some foil, put these in my refrigerator, and like I said, stay tuned next week and we'll see how we eat these. But I think one day I will for sure cut one in half, put it in the air fryer to kind of toast it up, and we'll see how that is. Next up, we're going to make a sweet and sour turkey meatball. So this is that other half of the turkey meat. So I used 1.5 on my taco potatoes, and then I just used the other half because I knew I didn't want to make a whole bunch of these meatballs. So I have the juice of the pineapples. So I have about 6 ounces of juice there. So I have the pineapple chunks, we have some cornstarch, we have some brown sugar alternative, some garlic salt, onion powder. We have our veggies, which I have a red bell pepper, a green bell pepper. We have our pineapples. We have some rice vinegar, some liquid aminos. And like I said, I'm winging this, you guys. I don't have a recipe for this. I just kind of made it up off of several different recipes that I saw. So I diced up or kind of chunked up in big chunks the bell pepper. And then I'm just going to take the little tidbits of the pineapple and put them all in here. And I'm actually going to cook these in the air fryer. If you have not cooked veggies like this in the air fryer, highly, highly recommend. They come out so, so good. And then for the meatballs, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. So I would use some of the Kinder's the blend, the salt, pepper, garlic, and I was just going to leave it at that. But then I thought, no, I want a little bit more flavor in there. So at the last minute, I decided to go ahead and just add in some liquid aminos just to kind of go along with the same flavor profile as the sweet and sour sauce itself. But I find that I don't like to use any kind of egg or anything sometimes when I'm making just a small batch of meatballs because I don't have a full pound of meat here. So I just have a half a pound of meat. So like I said, at the last minute, decided let's just go in with some liquid aminos. If you have any other ideas that how we could spice up these meatballs, let me know. But the sauce is so good. I'll tell you right now, it turned out really good. And it's so flavorful that I feel like you don't really need to worry about that with the meatballs. So I'm just going to make up 6 meatballs out of this meat, and that'll be 2 servings. So what you'll see when I finally show you the calories and all of that is going to be for 2 servings. So it'll be 3 meatballs per serving. I'll serve this over cauliflower rice. You can do it over regular rice. The only points in this, if you use the exact same ingredients that I'm using, this only comes out to 2 points, and that's for the pineapple juice. That's it for the pineapple juice, because everything else is 0 points. So the fruit, the vegetables, the liquid aminos, the vinegar, this meat, if you use the 99% fat-free ground turkey, then it's all 0 points except for the pineapple juice, which for 6 ounces is 4 points. And so I did 2 servings, so that's how we come up with the points. If you don't use the pineapple juice, if you use something else or just leave it out, I don't know how it would taste if you left it out, but it could be a 0 point meal with this, with everything else. And so we're going to go ahead and just make these meatballs. And like I said, I'm putting these also in the air fryer. So we're going to do the meatballs and the veggies and fruit in the air fryer. I did the meatballs at 370 for 10 minutes. And then I did the vegetables at 400 for 10 minutes. And they came out perfect. They were completely done. Now while those are cooking, let's go and make our sauce. So we have our 6 ounces of pineapple juice. We're going to add in a 1/4 cup of sugar-free ketchup. A 1/4 cup of this ketchup is 0 points. So depending on the ketchup you use, you may have points, but a 1/4 cup of this is 0 points. And then we're going to add in a 1/4 cup of liquid aminos. Now you can use a soy sauce, coconut aminos, whatever you like. Liquid aminos, it does not affect my body. Other stuff like coconut aminos sometimes is okay, but soy sauce completely makes me inflamed. Like my body does not react well to soy sauce, so I have to be really careful with it. Then we're going to use some rice vinegar. We're going to do a 1/4 cup of rice vinegar. You can use apple cider, oh sorry, not a 1/4 cup, 2 tablespoons. I forgot I halved the recipe that I had originally written down. So 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar. You could use apple cider vinegar. You can use white vinegar. I like the rice vinegar in these types of recipes. And then we're going to use a 1/4 cup of the brown sugar sweetener alternative. My favorite is the Sucre Gold. It's just hard for me to get a hold of. So I'm using this pure that I found, I believe, at Grocery Outlet. The Lakanto monk fruit also has a brown sugar sweetener, so either one of those. Or you can probably just use regular brown sugar if you want to add the points, or you can just use the regular sugar-free sweetener as well. And then we're just going to add in some onion powder and garlic salt and onion powder, or you can do it the other way around, but I did not have any onion salt. And then we're going to do 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, and we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of water to that. And this is just to kind of make a little slurry so we can add that to our sauce, and this will help thicken the sauce up. And you want to make sure you add it to the water first, and that way you don't get clumpy sauce. So we're going to go ahead and just add that in here, and then we're going to go and take this to the stove, and we're going to heat this up, and it'll be just ready to go by the time all of our other stuff is done in the air fryer. So here it is boiling. It's already started to thicken up. I'm going to add in the meatballs. I actually ended up putting the pineapple and the bell peppers in the air fryer just a little bit longer because I wanted to get them a little bit crispier, but the meatballs turned out perfect. They were done, they weren't dry, and now we're going to add in our veggies, and you can kind of see here where they kind of have a little bit of a char on them. It's just so good, you guys, and they are perfect, crisp, tender out of the air fryer. We're just going to mix these in here. I'm going to go ahead and let them simmer on, I just have them on 2 on my oven. I'm going to let them sit there for about 5 minutes just to kind of get everything all together. And here you go. Here is the finished sweet and sour turkey meatballs. Like I said, I will serve this over cauliflower rice. You could also serve this over like palms, like hearts of palm, angel hair pasta, or just regular pasta, regular rice, whatever you'd want to use. But you'll see here on the screen, it is 2 points, 254 calories. You'll see the protein there. It's really high protein. Such a good meal. And like I said, I just kind of winged it. Didn't have a recipe, and it turned out so good. And that is everything for this week's meal prep. Thank you guys so much, as always, for taking time out of your day to watch my videos. I really appreciate you. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.